So I want to understand from the folks out here, either you yourself or you know someone close to you or distant who deals with like a narcissist or a pessimist. Anybody? Either you yourself or you know someone who deals with someone else. We're not going to name names or any of that. We're going to protect the innocent. Because I really believe that everyone is good, but good people are capable of doing bad things. Right? We have a fight or flight response, and that's going to come in. No excuse for the bad behavior, but that's what happens, right? So we've got to help people. And there are 3 pillars that I'm going to cover today in how you can engage with people. Well, while it's in corporate, it also helps personally as well. So for the first one, and I think there's a typo there, so please excuse me, entertain me. First is psychological safety. If I were to ask you to hold like sand in your hand, both your hands, and then if you're asked to lift like a dumbbell, even if it's like 3 pounds, would you be able to do that? Even if you're strong, it's going to be hard, right? It'd be great if I had sand and dumbbell out here, but don't have that for now. That's exactly what psychological safety is going to really be about. It doesn't matter how hard and tough you are. The more psychologically safe you are in any situation, your best is going to come up. And the reverse is also true. If you're dealing with someone who's a narcissist, you're dealing with someone displaying bad behavior, your best bet is to get them to be on their best behavior before you even engage. So one of the weirdest, outlandish advice I'd given one of my clients is having problems with their manager, being very authoritative, unreasonable, asking her to work on weekends. My advice was make him feel safe. I was very thankful and grateful for her to trust me blindly. From being a low performer, she is right now not only the highest performer in the team, but all the values and systems and strategies that I've been able to coach her, she's now taking it to her team, and she's a flag bearer for how to roll out all these things. My main story for today, the starting story, is actually something else. I'm going to describe to you 2 people. The first person. This person was in the same conference room with me, in the same meetings, working on the same projects, customer-facing projects in a tech company at Intel. And wouldn't say much, wouldn't voice opinions, objections, what have you. And there were other members in the same meeting who would reach out to me like, hey, did you, like this person doesn't talk or say much or doesn't say anything. I wish that person would do more. Like, okay, that's feedback, but what do I do with this feedback? And I don't know this person very well, but I do observe the same things. There could be anything happening there. I'm going to talk about a different person. And this person is at a senior level, head-to-head with executives, telling them no. When there's no one there to safeguard her, including a manager, she's able to create a safe space for herself, say the no, and lift everyone else with her and go. Would you be surprised if I told you it's the same person? It's the same person, and guess what? I guess most of you are going to school out here in this university. This person graduated from the University of the Pacific. And if I'm here, if I have the privilege of standing in front of you today, on this stage, is because of her. And I want all of you to give a big round of applause to her, because even though she's not here today, I'm here because of her. So big round of applause to her. While Kirsten and I have worked together in the past, she is one of my clients right now, and I coach people in tech, even outside of tech. But it's been remarkable to have front row seats to see how she's created this entire network of psychological safety by herself and also for her tribe. So there are a lot of people who look up to her, and she mentors and guides. Not just people who are junior, but also senior executives all the way up to the CEO of the company. So without psychological safety, it's like you having stuff in your hands and you're trying to carry and do things. So you really have to create that safe space for you. And when success is not an option, when survival is not an option, like when you have to survive, things will happen. I'm not advocating toxic positivity. Ask the person to your left or right, or in your case, this one to your right, but ask for help. And for me, that's been one of the biggest things that has helped me, asking for help. So that part hopefully is straightforward. But I want to go now to the second piece, where we're going to make it more interactive. In the meantime, any thoughts, comments, or questions? No? Okay. For the next one, I would like a volunteer to come and role play with me. So anyone willing to role play with me? I'll just get the other mic. Anyone willing to role play with me? You're nudging each other, I see that. All right. And your name?
Alana.
Nice to meet you, Alana. I'm Sunrich.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Cool. So thank you for role playing with me. This is only role play, it's not real. Right? So I'm going to ask you for something, and I want to hear your response. Let's take it from there. Sounds cool? All right. Can I get $10,000?
No.
Just killed it, lovely. Okay. Do you struggle to say no to people, like in general, like with your, like people at home, people in school, like a friend comes and says, hey, I need help with this homework and stuff like that. Do you ever struggle to say no in any particular situation?
Sometimes, not often. I typically respond how I just do, to be honest. But
That's great. That's great. And I really applaud you for that. Now, maybe you can help me break it down here. Why do you feel that some people find it hard to say no?
I think they're really sympathetic to other people's feelings and trying to be helpful or do what they're obligated to.
Yeah, absolutely. Obligation, it's a big deal. Why do you think that's the case, that they feel obligated to?
It could just be like a relationship with a person, or that society tells them they should be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Been there, done that. Recovering people pleaser right here. Do you think these same people, they like hearing a no themselves?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Do you like hearing a no?
Not really.
Not really. Cool. So let me ask you this. Why don't you ask me for $10,000 and I'll give you a different way of saying it. Not that I don't want you to necessarily change yours, but let's ask the people a different way of saying it. So go ahead.
Can you please give me $10,000?
I have a policy of not loaning money, and I will not give you $10,000. But I know tomorrow's Sunday. I can still sit with you and find for loan options from a bank. Would you be opposed to that?
No.
Cool. Thank you so much. Round of applause, please. Maybe some of you are brave to say an immediate no, but most of us struggle to say a no, right? I did till like 2 years ago. I'm getting better at it. And lucky me, I coach people, so I tell them what to do. And then in that process, I learn as well. So it's so very important to practice this every single time. So the same thing when it comes to work. You're going to have a colleague who's going to come and ask you, dude, I didn't get this done. I need your help. Come and help me out. Or, hey, I am stuck here, and you have a pile of work too, but you got to tell them a no. How do you think we can go about replicating what I just said? Or, for example, your manager comes and says, you know what, end of the quarter, we need to get the product out. I need you to work on the weekend. And it's, my entire family and I, we are K-pop fans, so Blackpink coming to, they were at the Giant Stadium, right? And so we went, and at the same time, they're like, no, we need you to come and work. I think it was on a Tuesday. And no, I need you to work late on this Tuesday. Can you show up? And you got to tell them a no. So how do you tell your manager a no? Any ideas? How do you tell someone in authority no? Alternate, okay, got it. Alternate days, and so that is one way. Can I get your help here? Don't worry. Do me a favor here. So let's break it down. I want you to write yes, no, yes.
Yes, no, yes.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So this technique is from the book, The Power of a Positive No by William Ury. So we're going to break it down in the next few seconds, what this looks like. So to your point, you said alternative, right? That is the third piece, which is the last yes. Okay, so under that yes, can you write cost versus value? Value, correct, thank you. Okay, alrighty. The first yes is one of my favorites, and that first yes is values. Yes, the first yes is values. And the middle one is clear, like a clear no. Yeah. Awesome. So unless you have a strong value system and you have written it down, battle tested, you're not going to be able to confidently and repeatedly every single time say yes to yourself. This is non-negotiable. I'm not going to give up on this. That's my value system. That's the first yes. Then it's a no. It is sunny outside, so it's maybe a yes. Oh, it's raining, then it's a no. It needs to be agnostic to whatever is happening. If my sister asks me, it's a yes. My brother asks me, it's a no. People don't like consistency. You can be saying no very clearly, but if you consistently say no, people know that you stand for your value system, and you are teaching people to respect you. And that's what I got from you when you said no, right? So you're consistent with your value system. So make it a clear no. Lastly, the main part of the positive no is where people ask for something because they want it, and if they walk away without getting what they want, they feel that they're lost. So that's when you're giving them something else of value, maybe not the same high value, but slightly lower, but at low cost to you. You have an exam on Wednesday, your friend is moving out to a new place and he needs help moving, and he's moving on Tuesday. That friend asks you, can you help me move? What do you say? All right, we're going to get you your new answer at the end of this next few minutes here. So before we move forward and answer that, what do you think are your value systems in terms of you have an exam, you need to study for it, or it's important to you, or even your friend valuing you or knowing that you're going to be there? What would be some of your value systems? So not just you, but everyone. Let us help. Your name, please? Your name? Carolyn. Can we help her write her values? Or why don't you take us off first and write a value that is important to you in terms of studying or taking your exams, scoring well, and even with your friends. So what are some of your values? Wow, love that. What else? People can pitch in from the crowd as well. What do you think are values? Maybe not only for her, but also important to you. Your time, your availability, there's so many things. What's sleep? I had to sleep early last night so I could wake up on time, take my daughter to swim class, and then come here at a decent time, so I'm not compromising sleep anymore. Yeah. I think you had anyone? Oh, you said sleep, okay. Okay, you. Anyone? Sleep? Health is self-care, could be another one. I thought passing the class is so very important, yes. Good grades isn't a bad thing to get, but passing the class is way more important, yes. And I said this to the previous workshop, like the previous session. Do me a favor, write availability. Availability, like are you available or not? Availability. And if not anything out here, this one thing I want a commitment from all of you. I'm going to use the same words that I used before. I want you guys to protect your availability like a mama bear does for her cubs. Your time is precious. No one is above you. No one's beneath you either, but no one is above you. So your availability cannot be negotiated. So a lot of the time you can talk, if you guys played Monopoly, your get out of jail free card, get out of jail free card, your time, your sleep, things like that, right? I have a policy of not lending money, right? So then it becomes not personal. It's not like I don't like you or I don't trust you. It gets muddled and this is what you're saying yes to yourself. So I'm not available. I need to understand my material. I need time for that. I do want to help a friend in need. Sleep is important and passing the class is non-negotiable. So this is the first yes. Any thoughts, comments, or questions on is it clear, not clear, could be better? Any thoughts? All good? Okay. What could be a clear no? If someone comes and says, can you help me move? What could be a clear no? What would that sound like? There's a caveat there. How do you just say a clear no? No, I will not help you. I will not help you move on Tuesday. Tuesday night. Simple as that, right? No additional caveat. That no has to be so clear that. What could be something of low cost to you and value to them? Like you said, an alternative. In this case, what would be an alternative? Monday night, so it's not just Tuesday, but Monday night? How about on the weekend, the following weekend? What could you do? They're moving on Tuesday, But what could you do on the weekend? There we go. So just write that for me if you don't mind. Yeah. Okay. So I know I did switch the example on you. In this case, we're talking about specifically someone comes to you on a Tuesday to help a really good friend in need. It's asking you, can you help me move? But on Wednesday, you have an exam. How would you tell them a yes, no, yes? In a short, crisp, that's absolutely right. Can you add more color to it? Like, try to use as many of the, yeah.
I really understand what you're doing in home, and when you're very confident. So unfortunately, I'm not really very well to about people, like moving out, but I would really want to set you up. So how about I help you on the engagement with the other and so on. House become home.
House become home. Very cool. Round of applause. Thank you so much for participating. The only one correction I would make is you don't need to add unfortunately. Right? I think we tend to label things when it's not necessary. And let me get to the next example. And I would need another volunteer here. Who else will come? All right, thank you. So I'm going to give you a scenario where I'm in a coffee shop. You're on your phone. You can also bring it out as a prop. And there are 3 people in front of me. There's 1 person behind me. And you're so involved in your phone, and then you come and you stand in front of me. Go ahead and do that for me, please. Yeah. Right. And then I'm like, right? Okay. Now, a different scenario. You're in line, okay? And I really want you to do your best version of this. I come and cut you. You're doing the opposite. You're going to yell at me. You're going to scream. You're going to maybe even call me names or whatever that comes to your mind. You're going to be very tough on me, okay? Right, so.
Excuse me, sir. I was mine first. If you could be so kind as to move out the way or at least get behind me so that I may come up to the register and get my coffee first.
Oh, okay. I want to do another take 2, where you're really rude. Will you be so kind? You're being too kind. One more time, okay? So, like, are you blind? Got it? Okay.
Whoa! Excuse me. I was here first. Like, can you not see or something?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. Thank you. So the idea here is, there are 2 types of interactions happen. So the first one, if I call it passive, what do you think the latest one was? Aggressive, right? Pretty straightforward. Now use the word feelings for me and describe what does aggressive mean. The actual word feeling. So use the word feeling in the sentence. You feel angry, what else? In terms of feelings as a noun.
One thing for me is sometimes I get aggressive. It can be that I feel annoyed at someone. They're pestering me sometimes.
Do you think about them and why they're pestering you or why they're annoying you at that time?
Yeah.
How would that sound like? Like when you're thinking about why they're doing that? Where's the focus? Is the focus on you or on them?
So when I get aggressive or something, I will put my focus on them and be like, well, why are they doing this? And they're trying to get back at me for something. Or what did I do to make them do this to me or something like that.
Okay. You're so sweet. So I know that this other thought would also come. You might even think, are they having a bad day? Right? That thought also comes?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you a definition for aggressive, and I want to get your take on it, and then we'll get it from the rest of the group as well. When I'm being aggressive, I care only about my own feelings, and I disregard the other person's feelings. What are your thoughts on that?
For my case, that does happen sometimes where I only think about myself. And if that only happens if I'm actually really angry, right? Something major has happened. But generally, I do think about firstly, okay, why did they do that first? And maybe it was something I did to make them do that, and then that's why their action caused me to get aggressive. So I do have for me, it's both.
Yeah, it is, right? And the reason why we even get to that, what I call from state A to state B, is your lizard brain kicks in, right? Some of you might have heard about this. fight or flight response. And it's the third one called freeze. So it really depends on what you're seeing as a threat. What do you think is passive?
So in this scenario that just happened, something I think as like passive would be like, talking to the person that walked in, maybe asking them like, oh, did you not see me in line or something? If you could like, move behind me or something like that.
So it all depends on the relative scale. When I acted it out, did I ask you anything, or was I just fuming by myself?
I'll just say that you were like, you didn't say anything, so you just walked in, it didn't appear that you were angry or anything.
Right. So some of us, who are either people pleasers or in a smaller frame compared to an authority figure, we tend to keep it in ourselves. And that to me is you putting more emphasis on the other person's feelings or valuing the other person's feelings and suppressing your own. So that's passive. What do you think is assertive now? You know what is aggressive, what is passive, what is assertive?
Assertive is like, you're super dominant, so like show that I was here first, like I have a right to be here first, like no one should be able to come in front of me or like without, talking to me or asking me or doing anything without like my permission.
That actually sounds more like aggressive. Assertive is when you care about the other person's feelings and yours at the same time. So in other words, you give and command respect. So when we apply it back to the yes, no, yes, when you bathe in that sense of giving and commanding respect, it becomes a whole lot more easier, regardless on which direction you come from. If you're a passive person, you're reminding yourself to command and give respect. If you're aggressive, you're remembering to give and then command respect. So it depends on which angle you're going. All these are elements in saying a no. For me personally and people that I've seen around, learning how to say no was one of the biggest career trajectories that I had. So like the previous speaker came and spoke about different types and how you pair and things like that and different how people's brains are wired. Knowing this really allows you to, depends on which angle you're coming from. Are you demanding or are you more giving? To have that balance. So carving out that psychological safety either for yourself or someone else who cannot do it for themselves. Giving and commanding respect and saying no are the first two pieces of the three pillars of today's talk. Any thoughts, comments, or questions? If not, big round of applause. Thank you very much. Alrighty. So we finished the first two. The next is my favorite one, because I get to do it for the second time ever. You guys, can you all read it for me, please? You guys did even better. You guys sang it. I'm going to be very demanding now. I'm going to ask everyone to stand up. Yes. I want you guys to sing with me and also do the dance, right? All right, you guys ready? Head, shoulder, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulder, knees and toes, knees and toes. we can stop here right now. All right, so I did this for two reasons. One, I got a kick out of it. I thought people wouldn't listen to what I have to say, but you guys are so generous, just like the previous group. So thank you so much. Round of applause for you guys for doing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's also going to help you remember because of this really awesome and weird situation. So have a seat, everyone. So you remember the sequence, because the sequence is anything but fun. It is actually very serious. All right. On our head, we have a mouth, and I've been talking quite a lot. But we also have 2 eyes and 2 ears. So if I were to apply some math to it and ratio, there are more things that I can use on my head to observe than to communicate. And that's exactly why the head, shoulder, knees, and toes starts with the word head. This is to remind you that you need to observe more before you speak. For example, there was a situation where a friend of ours came home and was like, I remember this one game, it had this stuff, and I knew exactly what she was talking about. But instead of blurting out the answer, I was like, I'm going to use this to ask questions and practice my art of asking questions so I can learn to observe more. Same thing with personal relationships, same thing with corporations as well. When you're working in a technical team, the more you can observe, you can get to the actual solution. Okay, so this is when you have a problem, you're dealing with someone, and rather than jumping to the solution, and guess what? Everyone here going to school, engineering, correct? Different disciplines, yes, and different specialization. Everyone engineering. We are trained to be a hammer to a nail when we see a problem. So we see a problem, we want to solve it. In fact, you get rewarded the faster you do it, and the more you do it, and that's what your grades are, right? So when you see a problem, you are conditioned to go ahead and solve it. This is to get you to unlearn that in the real world. Because the real world does not have exams. The real world does not have quizzes or lab work and stuff like that. The real world is the real world. So first, you're going to do as much as possible to ask questions and observe. That's ahead. Can anyone help me out here? What do we carry on our shoulders, metaphorically speaking? Baggage. Love it. Yes, we carry baggage. Another word that you could more easily use in corporate that is synonymous to baggage. More simple. Weight is another one. What's that? Oh, yes. Damn expectations. Yeah. It's always expectations. Yes. What else? It's like baggage. It's the closest. Problems. We carry our problems on our shoulders. People come to us with problems. Now, have you guys heard of the saying, a problem well defined is a problem half solved? Right. I'll tell you the secret. Use it wisely, right? Usually at work in corporations, a problem comes. You wait long enough and act as if you're doing something around it. It goes away. It magically goes away. But then there are many problems, not many. There are some problems that really genuinely needs to be solved. By defining the problem so very well, you even identify is it worth solving? Is it really a problem or not? So the second most important thing to do is to find out what the problem is and define it. And again, how do you go about doing that? The previous step, by observing. So you understand the situation, you talk to different people. Same thing, someone comes and says, hey, you know what? Suraj in that party, he was spreading rumors about you. Rather than being like, okay, I need to go and talk it out to Suraj and straighten him out. Which party, when, how, without judgment. What was his problem in terms of why did he find it something that he had to say? Like, help define that. In that process, oh no, I think I misheard it. It wasn't true. Got it. So problems. Help find what the real problems are. Needs. Needs sound like needs. N-E-E-D-S. Customer comes and says, I need the software release to happen not in December, but in September. 3 months, I'm going to move my 400 people engineering organization to jump over this one customer because they think they need this. They want it. They don't need it. My kids want candy. They need to brush their teeth. Simple as that, right? So distinguishing between needs and wants is the third step. Why did the customer want the software to come out sooner? Because they wanted to go into production in Jan or Feb, something like that. And they have to run test cycles after they get the software. And that takes 2 to 3 months. Aha. So I was asking the questions, why do you need it? And they asked me, so your problem is you won't have enough time to go to production. Yes. So what you want is it to come sooner, but what it sounds to me is you need a software release that will not break your test suites. Yes. What if we take your test suites and put it into our engineering test validation? And we validate it for you before we release it. Do you still want it to come in September or December? We don't mind it to come in December. The toast is symbolic of the solution. So a lot of the times you don't even need a solution. In fact, in my observation, since I've been using this for a while now, for many years, 90% of the time, you don't need to even solve the problem. Not because it dissolves on its own, like I said before. What ends up happening is people really tend to solve something that need not be solved. And like the previous speaker, the keynote speaker talked about active listening. By asking more questions and not giving suggestions or assumptions, by defining the problem, distinguishing between the need and the wants, they feel heard. Yes, we're talking about work, but someone is hurting because either something's going wrong at home with their child or just personally with their friend, and it bleeds. We cannot turn a switch on and be a personal and a professional. We all try our best, we try to hide it, but it bleeds. So something else is typically bothering them. So by going through the step, head, shoulder, knees, a lot of the times you don't need to get to toes, which is actually the solution. And in those few cases, when you do need the solution, you have enough evidence as to what it needs to be. So when you're faced with a tough problem, bigger frame, create that sense of psychological safety for yourself. And if someone cannot do it for them, your responsibility right now is to go and do it for them. A lot of the times you'll have to say no, so use the yes, no, yes as much as you can, so you give and command respect. And don't be a hammer to a nail like you've been trained. Follow the head, shoulder, knees, and toes. Thank you for being such a great audience. Questions, comments, applause, all welcome right now. Any thoughts? Yeah. Good.
When you use the yes and no, yes method, what if that person is still being pushy about wanting you to help them out? How do you handle that?
That's a great question. Same question was asked in the previous session as well. Because we all face it, right? It can be that boss who's like, no, I don't care. I want you to show up on the weekend and on a Saturday and get work done. We have a conference on Monday. Like, I'm sure it wasn't easy putting this together. You guys had to go above and beyond. Some of it is what you wanted to do, and some of it's like, you know what, if Kyle had listened, or if Suraj had listened, we wouldn't have had to work this extra day or come a day sooner. So stuff happens like that. And to my previous point, you have to build consistency. Your answers cannot change. It's going to be hard, but doing the opposite is going to be harder. So like in the previous chart right here, you have to write your value system down. If you don't have it, and if you cannot spell it, if I wake you up in the middle of the night, hey, what are your values? If you're unable to say that, you cannot teach others to respect you. And you have to hold your ground, number one. Number two is build a tribe. And you guys have this amazing tribe. I did not have it growing up in college. I had a few friends. Like the previous speaker said, we drank more than actually did stuff productively. I had good people along the way that helped me, but if it weren't for them and me focused on my values, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. But that's a great question. Hold your ground, and my request to you is someone else who cannot, be there for them. Other questions? Any takeaways? Like if you were to remember 3 things today, what would those 3 things sound or look like? Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And even the other way around, right? There's a difference between passive and assertive too. Because I've seen more often than not, people are willing to do more for others than for themselves. They would say a yes to others, but they're okay saying a no to themselves. So always remember that give and command respect in the same sentence. Not even in the same paragraph, but exact same sentence. Yeah, great question. If I were to paraphrase, when you think about values, you do what is valuable to you. Are you, by chance, causing more problems for yourself because you work in a corporation? Like the previous speaker said, you can't say like, no, I'm not going to work on those Excel sheets. I'm only going to do the fun stuff that's going to help my career. You got taxes to pay, right? I think the idea is that becoming a major portion? Is that hindering you? Is that bringing you down? I think as a community, we all have responsibilities towards each other. Hold those responsibilities as long as it doesn't come in the way, or pair yourself with someone, like the previous speaker said. So it goes back to command and give respect. In order to earn your respect, I have to first give it. I could have sat here and said about my struggles, my accomplishments. None of that matters. I have to first give value to you without expecting anything back in return. The more I keep doing this and the more I focus on my values and I'm consistent, it's a hard road. It's really hard. Sometimes there's no gratitude. You don't get it for days, for years. Right? You need to be able to sleep well at night. Easier said than done. I'm not advocating against toxic positivity. But life tells you very easily if what you're doing is useful for you and for others. Life will definitely, the litmus test is out there. Yeah. And you guys, when I reflect back and look at when I was in college and graduating, I was telling Eric, who was sitting in the back earlier, there is no way I was half or even 1/4 as mature and knowledgeable and self-aware as what you guys are. And I'm so proud that you guys are going to do way better than me. For me, I've already won just knowing that you guys are going to be ahead. Yeah, and more than me believing in it, I want you guys to know that. And I won't say things just to say. You can ask my wife. I'm pretty brutally honest about those things because it's not going to help you otherwise. It's not going to coddle you. Yeah. Any other questions regarding my work, regarding how I even came here, anything. Yeah.
I guess my question is, what made you want to get into studying this?
There are many aspects. To be very transparent, it was dumb luck. So it was 2018. I was working at Intel, and there was a particular rough situation with the leader, and I was not at fault. And I was transitioning from one organization to another. And when I noticed that there was not much to hold on to in terms of integrity and how this place could evolve, I decided to leave. I left after 3 years because I was in charge of an organization, a global organization, that had tremendous amount of demand and impact and expectations, but not the visibility. So I realized that they needed to be put into a particular space and spot before I could take care of myself. So it took me 3 years to figure that out. And then I came across this person who in 45 minutes taught how to set up a website. And if you want to sell skateboards, this is how you go on Reddit and do your market research. This is how you go to, I forget the web publishing platform, but this is how you create your website. And in 45 minutes, I'm like, okay, what if I am the product? The variables are less, and let's give this a shot. And 3 years later, I'm here in this university with Data Tao as well, speaking. I was shit scared last night. I was shit scared in the morning, but I'm here. I thought no one would do the head, shoulder, knees, and toes. But then I also had the luxury of life giving me tremendous amount of painful lessons. We were in Kuwait when the first Iraqi invasion happened. I was 8 years old. We had to come out as refugees. In the first city in Basra, I had the Night Rider classes. I was dating myself, the red lights. And this kid wanted it from me. Tried to grab it. It was bigger than me. I held on to it. Next thing I know, I'm being punched. There are soldiers with guns. My dad couldn't do anything. We escaped. That's a long story. I was in India at that time, and I don't know why and how, but I was on a bus with my granddad's friend. He got out of the bus. I did not, because of the crowd. I did not speak the language. English is my first language. The bus driver got me to the depot to get me back home on a different route, and his friend said, you can sell this person. A small kid, 8-year-old kid, as old as my older daughter right now. So I've had the luxury of a lot of hardship. And what it's taught me is, don't take things for granted. And I'm not comparing my hardship with anyone else's. We all have our hardships. I can get every one of you in separately one-on-one, and there will be tears, for sure, from when you describe your hardship. Without a doubt. So we don't need to compare. The fact that you're here in this room right now, the fact that you have an opportunity is a reason to be grateful for. Any other questions? Cool. Well, I wish you all great success. There are a few ways that you can get in touch with me. I do put a few YouTube videos. They're not necessarily high ranking and stuff like that. I'm a no name as of now, but you can contact me find me on YouTube. You can contact me on LinkedIn. And if you do want to talk to me one-on-one, there's a Calendly link right there for a 30-minute session. So those are ways how you can get in touch with me. And I wish you guys great success. Thank you for having me.